So the first one that we went to was about entrepreneurship in America. Steve Case from AOL.
Yep, former president of AOL, CEO of AOL, back in AOL's heyday in the 90s, right? Yeah.
Not that that would be a problem, but yeah, he was definitely a founder of AOL, and let's see.
They basically just talked about his interviewer, whose name I don't remember. Sorry, interview. Okay.
Erica, I think.
And so her and Steve just basically talked. I mean, they meandered through all kinds of subjects on, modern technology. Getting Steve's opinion on, where Facebook is at, and where Twitter is at. And they talked a little bit about the tech bubble and the idea are these tech companies, are they being overvalued? Will there be a similar bubble in the technology industry to what there was with the housing industry, where it just gets overvalued to the point that the bubble bursts and then everybody loses a bunch of money? In his opinion, he said no.
Right.
Which I was kind of surprised by.
Well, he did say, the question came up, is Silicon Valley the new Detroit?
That was a very interesting question.
Yeah, and he was saying, it's something that
they compared it to
watching.
Because they compared it to the car industry, right? How back in the
Detroit
60s,
was booming and entrepreneurial,
and there were all kinds of companies being created to support the big three that were coming out with all these new car designs and just booming, booming, booming. And now Detroit obviously is. They said it lost 60% of their population, which is something that I hadn't heard before, but can see very realistically. So will that happen to Silicon Valley, which is just booming, booming, booming? Will it become unsustainable, or will they not be able to keep innovating to the point where everything just falls flat?
Right. I thought what he said they Detroit lost their entrepreneurial mojo.
They just got comfortable.
And I thought that was really an interesting way to put that.
Yeah.
And then he talked a lot about, this was the other quote that I got from it, was every company is now a technology company. So whether or not you're Google or whether you're Microsoft, data is such a big element of everyone's workday that every company is dealing with data. So you might not think of McDonald's as a technology company, but McDonald's is such a consumer of technology that they really could be considered a technology company.
That is a very interesting observation, absolutely.
And then he got into a lot of the problems that entrepreneurs face as they try and start businesses, and the policies that we could look at to help them move forward. He talked about access to capital, regulations, tax policies, immigration policies, all the things that the people that we work with work very, very tirelessly to solve. So I thought that was interesting to get his perspective on that.
Yeah.
And then also, another interesting fact was Steve Case and Barack Obama went to the same high school in Hawaii.
That's right.
The other thing that he talked about was how in Fortune 500 companies, a lot of times people look at that as sort of a radar. Do you remember he was talking about this? And so how turnover in Fortune 500 companies should not be perceived as something that's a bad thing. It's actually an indicator that we're being innovative.
Oh.
So if we have
reinventing themselves and kind of creative destruction?
Well, not reinventing themselves, but if we have the same companies in the Fortune 500 list every single year, it means that no new companies can get in. So we're not being innovative. So I thought that was really interesting. So don't look at turnover in the 500 list as something that's a bad thing.
Well, and it's like, okay, if the Fortune 500 companies stayed the same, then the telegraph company would still be. I mean, it's this idea that new companies rise and companies die as the need for them goes away, and
just a natural part of the process.